Hi everyone, Jacques again, and I'd like to welcome you to the second of this three-part series that I'm calling Weeding Out the Rot. Once again, rot stands for redundant, obsolete, and trivial and represents data that doesn't have any business value. In a lot of cases, it's estimated that between 40 to 70% of what an organization stores could be classified as rot. Now, when starting an information governance initiative, most organizations will want to clean up this rot. In this demo, we look at the obsolete category. These are all the files that are outdated and no longer have any business value. Examples would be old product brochures or past marketing campaigns, etc. We'll see how easy it is to find those files across the network using NetGovern Analyze aging reports. Here we go. Right, now I'm back in NetGovern Analyze, our main screen. We're going to go to our report definitions console. And in this case, we're looking for outdated files or obsolete files. So anything that's very old. So I'm going to start by creating a aging report here. So I'm going to call it aging report all files. And we're going to look at date age. The report gets created. We're going to leave this particular description here. The date, we can look at the create time, modify time, but access time. I'm going to look at access time, and the detail level I want to go down to is per year. Obviously, I know that I've got years of data on this file system. I want to break it down by year. Month would just be too much. My target path, well, I want to look at all the servers in my environment that I've got configured. So I'm going to click everything here, and I'm going to save this. And our report definition has been created. All I need to do now, if you remember from the part one, is just click on the preview and our report will come up. The file system's already been scanned. The data is already, the inventory data is already in the database. We're just ready to report on it. So I can look here and I can see the top 10 file access years. So 2018, obviously being the current year, it's been a busy year, 2 gigs of modified data or access files. 1 gig from 2014, 2012, and so on and so forth. But we see we've got stuff here from 2009, 2008. If I look at my report data, then we really have a breakdown of every year all the way back to 2002 in this particular file system. I've got 112 files here. I mean, remember, this is a demo environment, right? So a very small number of files, but you can imagine in a lot of environments, this can represent a lot of files and a lot of disk space. So if we want to find out what we had in 2003, that was last accessed, that hasn't been accessed since 2003, we can go in here and look at the report data, and this will again list all of the files, the owners, where they are, and we can start perhaps thinking of cleaning this up. We can export this to Excel or CSV file. If we export this to a CSV file, we can then load this up as a workload in NetGovern Enforce, which we'll see in a later video, to get rid of all of these files, to clean up. As you can imagine, 112 files is not the end of the world on 3 shares, but in a corporate environment where they may be thousands and thousands of these files, we don't want to start doing manual cleanup. So very easy to just get rid of it and export it and be able to import it into NetGovern Enforce. Now, one of the things I want to do is maybe I want to look at my older files. Perhaps during our information governance strategy or initiative, we've decided that in our industry, we only need to keep, let's say, 8 years back. So I can create a relative date here on my report, and I say, show me any file that was accessed before, let's say, 8 years ago, because we want to keep anything for 8 years. So show me anything that hasn't been accessed before 8 years, prior to this date. So now when I look at the same report again, if I look at my top 10, obviously things have changed now because we're 2018, so we're looking at 2010 and prior. And so my report drastically changes. We're only looking at anything older than 8 years, and so I can quickly narrow down instead of having to filter through all of these years. So very simple way of drilling down into those years, into the time frame that you need. Now, I also want to take this opportunity to quickly introduce you to the NetGovern Analyze data analytics client. Unlike the web console that you've seen previously, where we get an aggregate view of all our servers, all our shares across the network, and are able to report on all this, the data analytics client is a Windows client that the administrator can use to drill down on specific servers. So if you look at the top left here, we've loaded up the data for the HQ server, and you get all sorts of information and all these beautiful graphs that allow you to drill down on all of these users. So for example, if I want to see what G Morgan is taken up, I can click click on this and everything else changes to show me what G Morgan has as data on the network. I can reset this filter to see everybody again. What we're concerned on now is finding outdated files or obsolete files, and we've decided in our IG policy that anything that's older than 8 years we don't really need to keep. So perhaps we want to drill down on this. One of the things I can do here is look at my modified by year, and I can actually take this slider and move it to 8 years ago, 2010, and you'll see that everything changes, right? My pie chart changed, my bar graph here changed, more of my top extensions. So I might want to look at what this user Jay Lee has on the network. Click on that. Again, everything changes to now show me 2002 to 2010 user Jay Lee. And I can see that he's got a couple of extensions here, including some old OpenOffice presentation files. I can right click on this and go to my details grid to actually see the details of those files. And I can look at the file names, so they're presentation templates. Obviously there's a lot of repetition here, so if I expand my path, I'm not only am I looking now at obsolete data. I mean, what are the chances that these presentation templates and customer presentation templates are still valid, from 8 years ago? And not only that, but we're storing them in multiple locations. So again, all of this data can be exported to CSV, fed into Enforce later to clean up this obsolete data from our network. So I hope that this short video helped explain how you can quickly easily use NetGovern Analyze to find your obsolete data across your file shares and hopefully start getting rid of them to clean house. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next video.